think that I just come in there and look for knockouts, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, I'm here. Who want to fight with me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter can beat me.
Demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. How everybody doing out there, man? I know it was MLK Day today. That's what was being recognized. So a lot of us got to chill out today, man, and take it easy. So it was like a 3-day weekend for a lot of folks, and I mean, some people may have reflected on MLK, what he did. It's controversial. Most of the people that I've come across in all my studies, they respect the man. They saw what he was trying to do. So salute to MLK, man, for everything he did, man, and being part of the ancestors. But I want to talk some boxing, and it's always a pleasure to be able to talk some good old boxing with y'all, man. There's always something going on, man. Always some kind of storyline going on, and we done made it through that little hump. It was fights on this weekend. I really didn't indulge, but it's fight week. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is fight week. Yes, sir. And we got Andy Cruz, the Cuban sensation, gold medalist. Keyshawn's daddy, Papa. Keyshawn's daddy, man, he's going for a strap against no other than Raymond Muratalla, man. Muratalla, part of that Robert Garcia camp. I like Raymond Muratalla, man. This is not a lightweight scrap. But in the spirit of fight week, I wanted to come out and do something on this early, man. I know it's probably getting ready to get cooked all up this week as people give their takes and, add their little flavor to the mix. So that's what we're going to do. That's going to be the meat and potatoes of everything tonight. And I would say the last day or two, I haven't been inquiring that much. I see that people are getting stuck, man. It's like Remix University around here, man, where people just stuck in a rut, man. I guess the creative juices are not flowing. Not many people giving you anything really new, or it's just the same old, man. But I'm gonna go ahead and get into the housekeeping, so we can get down to the nitty-gritty. The first one, man, PBC hate still here in 2026. And that should have a question mark beside it, man. So I had to fix that. People still hating on the PBC. I'm like, man, like that's why I did a little poll, man. I didn't go back and look at the results of the poll, but I did a little poll, man, asking, how did I word it? I said, who do most people project their self-hate onto? And I said the Charlos, Earl Spence, Tank, or anybody affiliated with Al Heyman. And although the front runner is Gervonta Tank Davis, the correct answer is anybody affiliated with Al Heyman, man. You know, you can clearly see who get paid to shit on anybody or anything that got to do with Al Heyman, even at the expense of big fights not being made. You know, I'm seeing this trend where a lot of people, they were looking, they pulled out the knives and the pitchforks, you know, looking for Virgil, you know, Team Virgil, Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, whoever they could find. And even when the news came out about Virgil suing Oscar, the narrative changed to the money and all these little like minutiae, right? I mean, things that we didn't do when it came down to the other guy, when he turned down the deal, things that they didn't do when that happened. They didn't go through with a fine-tooth comb when that happened. We didn't really even see too many videos about it. All we heard was, yeah, he won undisputed. And it was just, okay, cool. Like, it was just, get off our backs. He wants undisputed. Nevertheless, that he ducked a big fight. You know what I'm saying? What kind of duck it was, that's a different question. But they came out with the knives and the pitchforks for Virgil, and they're still on it. They're not past it. I'm like, man, I had alluded to the fact that when Boots first beat Lima, he called out several people. You know, he called out Murtazaliev, he called out Virgil, and he called out Jamel. Well, Jamel had responded. And then once again, I'm thinking following along, because if you recall, Jamel and Earl Spence, like everybody came down, like when Virgil fought, all of those guys came down there. Boots came down there, like all of those guys was there. Some people were ringside, right? The fighters was ringside. So salute CJ Rich. But some fighters that came out, right? They was ringside or whatever, and they was there for the Virgil fight. Yeah, we didn't see them down there at Boots, you know, that was part of the argument there, and that's what kind of had Oscar going too, because you know, you could kind of say the boxing stars came out when it came down to Virgil. When it came down to another guy, not so much, except for people that's affiliated. I know up there in Atlantic City, Richardson Hitchens was there. Of course, Shakur was there, but then again, Zay Quinn was there. He fought in that undercard up there when he fought Stan Giannis. But like boxing stars, they came out at Virgil fight, and so here we are, where Jermell Charlo, I guess, seeing and hearing all of the news, you know, and I guess he's itching to come back, and he wanting to cut his teeth on something because he was the undisputed champ at 154. So, you know, he got to saying, hey, listen, holla at me. You know, and it's kind of funny that, like, people, and it's how you know it be PBC hate. It's like, people want Boots to get Virgil so bad. It's only certain particular people. I don't know if they get a commission for the fight being made. I'm not sure. But like, they are hard pressed. I'm like, man, there are other decent fights, big fights, you know, fan friendly fights. You know, 154 is not quite as competitive as 140 in my opinion, but it is very competitive. And there is a guy And I said this the last time, and I hate to sound like a broken record. I always say it's real funny when somebody long in the tooth and they're past it, like with AB. Everybody was gunning for AB. When they saw that AB had lost a few steps, it wasn't quite himself, had been overindulging in some pleasantries outside the ring that didn't cater to a boxer's lifestyle. Everybody and their mother was gunning for AB. Everybody and their mother wanted to get him on a resume. It's something that happens when people are long in the tooth and they don't pose much of a threat. And you can say that Jermell Charlo, oh man, he been inactive. You can kind of shit on him, and that's part of the PBC hate. You know what I'm saying? You can shit on him and say he been inactive. Yeah, he has. You can say it's been 4 years and, you know, all of this stuff. But you can point out the fact that he hasn't been active, right? And then even the fact that the last time he was active, he was up at 68. And before that, I hear people saying, well, it was 3 years since, about 3 years since he fought at 50. All this crazy stuff, because it's so crazy how somebody like Jojo Diaz, they can come back in the mix after being inactive and, off of, alcohol, all this other stuff. People are still gunning for Pacquiao in his old age. But it's something about when the opponent might present somewhat of an ass whooping that kind of turns fans off, and I don't get it. But shout out to Jermell Charlo. You know what I'm saying? That's one of my top 3 favorite guys in boxing, man. And I still regard him heavy as the champ. And at 154, he did actually go by and clean out the division. Like, everybody who got a belt after him did not relieve him of a strap. You know what I'm saying? Since he got undisputed, those belts were given to everybody. So he came out and basically said, hey, Virgil, holla at me. Boots, holla at me. And it's been crickets. So that's why I say, man, I don't know why do we put so much weight when certain call outs are made? Like, anybody can get out there and call out Richardson Hitchens. And I got to keep using them because this is the sign of the time. This is what's going on right now. Anybody can call him out, and if the fight don't get made, they're going to blame Richardson. But here it is, the former undisputed champ at 154. You talking about lineal? The lineal. He cleared it out. Nobody don't want to acknowledge it, and a lot of it goes down to what I said before, the correct answer to that poll that I gave. Where do people project their self-hate? Is it the Charlos? So you're halfway right if you say the Charlos. You probably are 100% right if you said Tank, because he do get the most Tank. Is he blameless? No. But do he get the most hate? Absolutely. Errol Spence? Yes, he gets unwarranted hate. All he did was get 3 straps, you know what I'm saying, in the glamour division and put on great fights. Stars always came out to go see Earl. Stars came out to see Tank. But the real answer to the question was anybody affiliated with Al Heyman. And I can't believe that we're still doing this in 2026. And this is what I know. The people that are getting paid to push these narratives, the people that are getting paid to shit on anything that the PBC do, right? You got to start questioning whether or not are they good for boxing. Are they entertaining? Yeah. It's a lot of clowns. It's a lot of peasants. It's a lot of midgets, you know what I'm saying, that do stand-up comedy every day around about 3 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? You get a whole lot of hee-hee and ha-ha and a lot of giggling and snickling. Yeah, it's a lot of comedians. Wannabe fake-ass, dumbass comedians. Yeah. They get paid to shit on PBC. Yeah. But you got to start asking yourself, are they good for the sport? Why you say that, Mike? If you listen, I'm going to tell you, right? The reason why I say that is because you got to start asking yourself, the people across the pond in the UK, they are allowed to be all things UK. When it comes down to the Mexican fan base, they are allowed to be all things Mexican. Like any Argentinians, all things Argentinian. The Australians, all things Aussie. We are the only ones, the Mecca. Like the Mount Kilimanjaro of boxing. Right? The Mount Kilimanjaro of boxing, U.S. boxing, right? You got to start asking yourself, if we lose this market, because that guy from across the pond over there, he did a great job at sport, like basically ruining fighters and their pay and their what they see, their perceivable worth and all of this. He's done a wonderful job at like basically, I can't even say overpaying, but I can say manipulating the market, right? And so I've been looking at U.S. boxing, and I originally asked that question, was Turkey and Eddie good for American boxing? Are they making American boxing great again? No. They actually been detrimental. That's why I kind of agree with Oscar and what he was saying and how they were working with. So if somebody come out now and say that, okay, now they're looking forward to working with a certain entity in USA boxing, then you can deduct, if you flip it around, you can say that before they were not looking for, or they were not being amenable to situations that could have put on fights cross promotion. They weren't being agreeable. They were being unreasonable. They wasn't even looking that way. Everybody was doing in-house. Now, people shitted on Floyd a couple years ago when he said, oh no, we're going to do all things in-house. But they all were doing all things in-house. But if we look at the landscape of American boxing now, it's getting hairy. It's getting a little touchy. So you gotta ask yourself, man, anybody that's still outright shitting on the PBC, knowing that, especially if you're gonna be talking about anything in the 154 division, you gotta look at who are the major players at the 154 division. You got a Fundora, right? You got a Virgil, you got a Boots, right? But then you got a Jamel Charlo, right? You got if Earl come back, you got Keith Thurman. Like these guys, like these are worthy. You got Xander. Now you got a Boss Baru. Yoenis Tellers, he just suffered a loss by a Boss Baru. But when you look at the fights, like Tim Tszyu, when you look at those fights and all of the people, like the people that's affiliated with the PBC who could now filter now, this is how you also know that they be full of shit when they be saying that they all for boxing, they don't care about this, they just want to see the big. They really don't, because when they are viable opponents, they want to go back and say, oh, I thought you was with PBC though. It's like, man, fuck all that dumb shit. We trying to make a fight. So you were just crying, like you and your people were just crying about somebody ducking a fight in Virgil. Crying about Oscar and them ducking. But when they say, all right, well, we gonna work with another entity who got all of the smoke at 54. A lot of the smoke that they would love to get. Big fights, big stadiums, like, you know what I'm saying? All they gotta do is, you know what I'm saying, get active again. And it's just add water. But then you want to get in front of a fight because of a certain promotional company. That's why you gotta ask yourself, are these guys good for boxing? You can clearly see everything but the receipts that they getting paid to shit on the PBC. But you gotta ask yourself, are they good for boxing? When they get in the way of fights. They'll sit around for 3-4 days a week talking about how this person ducked, how that person ducked, and then when an undisputed champion steps out, who, like, because their favorite fighter would never do that shit. Their favorite fighter would never even defend it. Their favorite fighter would never even fight nobody of that age or that caliber, of that ilk. They would never do it. But you have a former undisputed champion in Jamel Charlo stepping out, calling out a Boots, calling out a Virgil. That's a wonderful pelt to have on the wall if you can deal with it. If he's too long in the tooth, if he's soft, if you think if you take what he did with Canelo, put him out his misery then. But no, they don't really want the big fights. They just want to put their finger on the game. They want to have influence on the game, right? They want to put their imprint. They want to be able to like manipulate the ball. They want to be able to put a spin on the ball. We just follow the bouncing ball all along and we call it out. but they want to have heavily influence on the fight. They want to dictate who's ducking and who's not. They don't really want to see big fights, and they don't care if American boxing gets back to where American boxing should be. Why? Because they're getting paid. They're getting paid.
I wanted to cook in on this one because this is a great housekeeping topic. I'm just going to keep it kind of short. Basically, the way I see it is, if we've been talking about being fans of American boxing and black fighters getting their just due and things like that, outside of PBC in America, before the other guy came in and shorted our market, he pulled a stock move on us. He shorted our market. You overinflate by overpaying, and then everybody expects that money even after you walk away. They looking at their promotional companies like, why can't you put up this kind of money if it's a big fight, like, you know, like we saying it is. So at the end of the day, he shorted our market, and within the next year or two, we're actually going to see the residuals of it. And they shorted it so bad so they can start their own market. That's what that TKO promotion is, and that's why they did what they did to the U.S. market, to relaunch something else. So understand that. You feel me? So the PBC has never tried to short the market. They gave fighters the ability to say what everyone else says. Bet on yourself. If you can put up the performances, you pack the house, people gonna pay to see you. It's just that simple. It's business 101. It's entertainment 101. All you have to do is perform, show up and show out. And everything will happen for you. The money, everything. You don't even have to be the most spoken. Errol Spence and Tank Davis proved that to everybody. Errol barely said anything. But when he did say something, it shifted the needle. Tank barely says anything. But anything Tank does shifts the needle.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, when we look at the example of what Body's talking about, at 54, you got Errol Spence already there, and you got Mel Charlo there, which again, everyone knows this man never lost his belts at 54 in the ring. He is actually still the real champion. So he's calling you dudes out that are champions of these sanctioning bodies, and it just shows where your balls are. Like, y'all dudes ain't grown. Y'all ain't wearing grown man drawers yet. For real, because y'all still want to play. Y'all still want to hang out at the junior high school, talking about, yeah, I'm in the 11th grade. I'm in the 11th grade. All I need to do is make it till next year and I graduate. You and Virgil, even if y'all two dudes fight, you had the real champion just call you out. Ain't nothing. None of these bullshit call outs people say nowadays. Ooh, this person done called out that person. Ooh, Boots got in the ring with Virgil. Oh my God, that shit was crazy. Virgil said, come up here, Boots. That shit is meaningless because the real motherfucking champ said what's really good.
Yep. And people still want to play promotional gangbanging games. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we still doing this at 26. People are still doing that to the detriment of USA boxing, man.
That's the point, because we calling Bakaram the boogeyman. But check this shit out. The boogeyman still ain't never called out the real champion. At least I haven't seen anything, because I know the real champion will come out of retirement and look at him as a tune-up.
He said he will fight him.
Oh yeah, he did?
Yeah, he said he would fight him, and he waited. Like he had been waiting. He had been waiting in the wings to fight him. So it's history there.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what I'm
That's a
saying? So,
beautiful. And I retract my former statement.
yeah, he would fight him.
Okay, that's what's up. So there you go, Boogeyman. After this one, somebody try to take the real champion's belt, regardless of what happened with him and Canelo. He's still a real champion at that weight. So y'all get that pelt that you retired him, and you take that strap off of him. I don't see a problem. It's a win-win for me.
Yeah, it's not like Mel, at least. I know Maul was having more of an issue, but Mel, he was still at his walk around rate. He still looked like, when you look at him and you see him talk, his faculty, it ain't nothing slow, it ain't no delay. He don't look bad, he look good. He look like, man, he look straight. He look refreshed. It's like, but like I said, man, it's always funny how they get, when they know they got somebody they can just beat up and that's tailor made for them, you know what I'm saying? They be in the mess out with their chest out. When there's somebody that might kick their ball over the fence and have them holding the pocket or tossing over their cornbread, and not so much. You know what I'm saying? They turn into librarians, man, using their inside voice, you know. So I'm like, man, listen, y'all. American boxing is like it's hurting because we are infatuated. We got a fetish for all things foreign. Do not let these content creators pigeonhole you into like gangbanging for these different people at the expense of us not getting fights. Because you're undervaluing fights that could be made with American fighters on American soil just to kiss the nipple ring of Al Sheik and all things foreign. You know what I'm saying? It's just like all of the praise. And I'm not saying that Dalton don't deserve all of the praise, but now all of a sudden it's like he's the best one at 140, like all kind of crazy stupid stuff. Like we seen what Muratalla did to Bakram. And then 15 months went by, and nobody fought him. Like negotiations were made, and this and that, and nobody would fight him. Josh Kelly finally said, "Yeah," but all last year nobody wanted to fight him after he seen what he did. So that kind of behavior warrants it. Dalton Smith came up, he did what he did to Subriel, right? We can see what Subriel's flaws was and how we did it. And this is no knock at Dalton Smith. But it's no way in the world that he's the best at 140 after beating Subriel like that level. It's just we have an infatuation with all things foreign. Like we do not value people, like even when we do stuff, people who do things, legitimate things over here, we don't value it. So don't let these creators like pigeonhole you into a role where just because they want a promotional gangbang, you're gonna get along with the foolishness and you're gonna co-sign a duck. Because that's a call out. You can't say, oh, well, I thought you was with Al Heyman. Like that sound like quack to me. It don't matter who I'm with. Like, cause they be saying like they be saying, oh, well, belts don't. Because I was saying, why do he want Virgil so much? Because he's tailor made for him. He know that he's a come forward, flat-footed, pressure fighter. That's right up his alley, right? That's why he wanted, because it ain't no belt. Just like what Eddie said. He said, man, a fight would be big if they both had belts. And they played the promotional game. You know, Eddie do all his little smoke and mirror stuff, have all the heat there. He got all this smoke swirling around Golden Boy and all of that, right? All this smoke swirling around Oscar. Oscar come out and he replies. And then we hear about Virgil and that. And so the fight ain't going nowhere. They saying they turn in a different direction, and now they furthering down the road saying that Virgil is ducking. Well, another name just popped out, and I'm a solution-oriented type individual. Another guy with a hell of a resume, hell of a skill, just popped out and called out both of y'all. It's like I feel like that what was it called? That scary movie. What are we waiting for? Like, what are we waiting? Like, so when somebody come out and call out at the expense of like promotional gangbanging and trying to hate on fights, Y'all not going to acknowledge that with this call out, if y'all don't take it, that would be, what kind of duck would that be? Since we calling people ducks after call outs. Now I went over what the fuck is a duck. But come on now. We talking about Jermell Charlo, man, the undisputed guy. Like, if he get back and he get active and somebody else get him, you're gonna be looking around, you're gonna be sitting around saying the same thing you were saying when Devin got a hold of Brian Norman. I'm trying to tell you, like, things happen, man. If somebody gonna get Jermell Charlo, if you can knock his dick in the dirt, go ahead and do it. What are we waiting for? Like, Boots, you need a name. You want something to cut your teeth on. All the other champions tied up. What are we waiting for? You called him out after Lima. But okay, we said Virgil and them was a duck. Okay, what are we waiting for? Oh, y'all on that promotional gangbanging. Oh, I get it. That porridge might be too hot. You know what I'm saying? Like, that porridge might not be just right. That porridge might be a little bit too hot. Even though that porridge was, it's been made for a long time. I'm gonna digress off of that, man. I just don't, that PBC hate shit, man, that shit is like, it's lame, man. Y'all gotta start looking around and saying, listen, man, we need boxing. We need all the fights we can get. If there's a call out that could be made and people want to actually sit down at the table and hash it out, like, that's what we need to start encouraging. We don't need to be on the other side getting in the way of fights and being the voice, the loudest voices to get in between while the fights, like, to stop the fights. We need to be encouraging them. I think y'all done hammered it into the ground about how Virgil and Golden Boy and all them, even though we told y'all, we said, look at Zerto. We said, look at Ryan. We said, look at, who else? Even how he was doing with even the situation when Canelo was over there. Even though Oscar was encouraging the big fights and all that. But we said, look at the history of these guys. Like, look at the history of what was going on with these guys. And like, Oscar wasn't just giving these guys, forking these guys over. It was time. So we told y'all before y'all dumbasses went down that route to not get your juices all flowing and get all hot and bothered, knowing that you wasn't gonna get hosed down and appeased. But y'all decided to go down that route anyway. Okay, so y'all hammered it home that they all ducks. There's other fish in the sea. Jermell Charlo was a nice pelt on the wall, man. Holla at that man. Like, don't act like you don't speak English now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of weird. Anyways, number 2, AB defends Derrick James. I'm talking about Alicia Baumgartner. She comes out because a lot of people were critical, about her performance. And I don't think I was really critical of her performance. I was just thinking that I thought she could have stepped on the gas. But what I liked about what she said was, it's something that I say from the sidelines looking in. From the outside looking in, I always say this, especially when it comes down to Derrick James. And like, and this is a teaching moment, I guess, for everybody, like, as far as like mindsets and how we look at coaches in boxing, right? Because there is a stigma on Derrick James. I don't know how it got there. I think it really went along with the Errol Spence loss, but you got to think, he took that man from being a young man all the way up to having 3 straps in the glamour division when it was the glamour division at welterweight. 3 straps. He was one strap away from having them all. Right? I mean, then he also got Jermell Charlo to go pick up the straps one by one and run the whole gambit successful. So you talking about an undisputed and then 3 belts in the weight division, and they were reigning at the same time. No other champ was no other coach that was doing that, reigning at the division, like having an undisputed champ at 154 and then having a reigning champ at 147 at the same time like that. Like, Derrick James is a bad man. You know what I'm saying? If anything, they saying that he's missed the fundamentals. But this is what I want people to understand about Derrick James and other coaches. Coaches have their specialties, right? if I were just to touch on the man of the hour for just one moment, right? The man of the hour is Andy Cruz, right? That's gonna be the meat and potato. But like when he came out, he was already a complete, pure Cuban style boxer. Plenty of movement, all the pizzazz, speed, timing, accuracy, all of the best, like great feet. He had all of that. In order to get over to the more of the pro style, you know what I'm saying, he had to start sitting down his punches, delivering more, turning over his punches, doing stuff like that. I seen a clip where Bozy said, I ain't have to change him. He said, I ain't want to change him. I just had him sitting down, you know what I mean? Not me. I ain't change him. You know what I mean? I just had him sitting down. Like you see him sitting down now, man. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? That's what he said. So when you looking at these different coaches, you go to these different coaches for different things. Like you don't go to certain coaches for certain things. Like you don't like, so if you were like a little bit loose, if you were just solely basing everything on your athleticism and you just doing whatever it was, like, and you didn't have the fundamentals, yeah, you would go to somebody like Derrick James so he could teach you more of the science and the why and being more methodical and things like that. What Alicia did was say, listen, for those of y'all that want to keep talking about my coach and whether I made the right decision, I made the best decision. She's like, we won and we made it look flawless. Like, because I guess people were saying that she got hit a little bit too much, but that's not nothing new. AB been getting touched. Like that was like the whole, like, but I think that's part of the whole thing about AB. Like that's what kind of make her interesting, because you've seen her get hit sometimes. You're like, oh shit, I don't know if she can afford to do that. That was way before she got with Derrick James. And trust me, this was one of my fights. I used to rock with Alicia. Before that popping thing, I used to rock with Alicia. Before he popped, I used to rock with Conor Ben. So I used to watch them. AB used to get to, like, she used to get touched. I don't even think, because of the level of competition, like she's about the same. I think that she was way more methodical. I think she was way more technically sound. I think she actually had full control. Like you can tell when somebody got full control over a fight. Now I do think before she popped, I do think her power was a little different. I'm sorry. But in regard to what she said was, she's like, for all the people that want to be critical of Derrick James, she's like, don't you know it's up to the fighter to do what they're supposed to do? Like, that was my decision. Some of those was like my decision, basically taking ownership, basically saying that it's not always the coach. Like, yeah, now, when we get back and we hear the coach sometimes, like with the Brian Norman versus Devin, when we hear them in the corner and we know that a fighter is hurt or a fighter really needs something, need to be told something, just like that time when Devin came back. You know, if you want to bring it full circle, it was a time when Devin came back to the corner and said, Dad, I think he figured me out. What Bill say? It wasn't the best counsel in the world. So when we fast forward to what happened with Brian Norman, he was just saying, listen, man, go get him. Like, basically, man, go get him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't really have what Norman needed. So, yeah, we are critical of coaches in the corner when we hear things like that. But there have been plenty of times where I heard Derrick James give excellent counsel, and whether it was Ryan, whether it was Frank, whether it was Jamel, whether it was Earl, like they all like got into fighter mode and they did what they wanted to do at the point in time. It had nothing to do with Derrick, but he gets all of, and that's part of what I said, part number one, the PBC hate, because they do affiliate him with Earl. You know what I'm saying? They affiliate him with Jamel. And so he's still getting some of that hate. And then that whole back and forth that he had with Bomac. Let it go. Let it go. So I appreciate what AB said when she took up for AB, and then for Derrick James. And then AC was saying that his first look at Derrick James with Brian Norman, he's like, man, Brian Norman, he's like, it looked all right. He's like, it looked okay. I hadn't really delved into it. I've seen an image of him in there with him, with Derrick with his arm out and Brian Norman being there, but I hadn't seen any like pad work, or I hadn't seen anything like that yet. But like, I'm pulling for Derrick, man. Derrick is a sound coach. Now you don't go to him for everything. And see, Frank Martin say he moved on from Derrick James. He said the relationship was amicable. He's like, it was no ill will or no nothing. He was like, he just wanted to get with somebody that was going to allow him to use more of his athleticism. You know what I'm saying? There's no harm and no foul with that.
Yeah.
And sometimes you move on. Sometimes you need something different. Like if you notice, Jamel Charlo started incorporating Juan Guzman more. I think he wanted to use more of his offense, more of his explosiveness and all that. But you can't tell me that the fundamentals, them working, them having a game plan, him, like Derrick James quarterbacking him all through like his run for undisputed. You can't tell me that Derrick wasn't pivotal in that run that he had to get undisputed. You can't tell me that Derrick wasn't pivotal with Errol Spence in that run he got when he got all three of them straps and then lost to the #1 pound for pound fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't take away from Derrick from that. But we got to understand that these coaches specialize in certain areas, and that's why you go to certain coaches for certain things. I was going back this weekend, man, and I was looking at some Lamont Peterson. I went back and I looked at Antonio Tarver, and because I've been recommending coaches and I've been looking at certain things, man, I think Lamont Peterson, I don't know if he's training, I don't know if he's coaching, but I think the science he was talking about will be nice as well. You know what I'm saying? Especially him coming from where he come from, being from the area, you know what I'm saying? And then going through what he was going through and his background, but like the science behind it, he's good. Looking at Antonio Tarver, knowing that Antonio Tarver may have had one of the best left hands in the game at one point in time, man. That left, oh my goodness. And I didn't realize, I was like, man, I must have forgot or something, but Antonio is a southpaw, but that left hand, man, the way he deliver it, and if he get you hurt, it's over. But that, you talking about an educated left hand, like he can use that thing, the uppercut, the hook, like that shit, it was like an anvil. If he line you up and hit you with that motherfucking left, it was over. Especially if he hit you clean. But that, so I would think now, so now if I'm recommending him, I would say, okay, if we're looking for somebody that would enhance your delivery system, how to land that big hand, like that big left or whatever coming from the south, like how to land. So it would make more sense, like with I guess that would kind of make sense with him one Earl, because I had been recommending, but it would make sense, you know what I'm saying? Maybe to use more of his like explosive punch power. He got the fundamental. Earl got the fundamentals. But what I'm getting at is when you go with these different coaches, you go with these coaches for certain things. Like they specialize in certain things. It's just like everything else. Yeah, it's like everything else, man. You got wide receiver coaches, you got quarterback coaches, you got DB coaches, you got special team coaches, or they specialize. Now they can give you a little bit of whatever because it's all part of football, whatever. But they specialize in a certain area, and that's the thing. And sometimes you might have to move on from that. But
Yeah,
you got something, HC?
Yeah, because this is another one of those good things to whereas we can put a stake in the ground to whereas maybe at this juncture in time we may be looking at the new hybrid athlete. If you're coming in with a high level of athleticism, you feel what I'm saying? Then you may need to go to many different coaches, like the specialist, like a UFC fighter. A UFC fighter has their strength and conditioning coach, their striking coach, their grappling coach, their wrestling coach. You feel what I'm saying? So in that sense of looking at the new age boxer, you know, we may be looking at that type of situation to whereas if you're not there to where you have the complete machine, to where when I say the complete machine is you have the already Rolodex tat, whenever you have a fight, you already know all of these specialists. This is part of your regular routine, and this is how your machine works really, really better. So in what we're looking at, in the sense of Brian Norman going to Derrick James, this is one of the first major pieces to the machine, because you have to really understand how the engine works.
Yeah.
And maybe you have to tear the engine down and then rebuild it. So that's what the fundamentals are. That's your engine. Braking and all of that other stuff, cornering, that's high level stuff. when you get there, you know what I'm saying? That's when you may look for another specialist. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at what Derek James was able to do with Errol Spence, you know, the thing is, you've been working with that man so much that he did it belt by belt by belt by belt, just off of fundamentals and will and footwork. So that type of shit, to take somebody and have them a uh three belt champion, bro, that shit is crazy. And then they get to fight for a lineal belt and undisputed. You took that man to the highest level, basically off of fundamentals, and that's what we calling it. That's what we're calling him, Mr. Fundamentals.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you still have to know why you do what you do. If you have no idea why you doing what you're doing, then you have no idea what the fuck you really doing. And the first step to building that, I think that's why I was saying, yo, it's a good look. I haven't seen any video or anything of him hitting pads and everything. I've seen the same photo you seen, and I seen it. You know, big shout out to True School Boxing. So that's where he had the picture, and that's where I saw it, and I was like, oh, if they figure out, you know, and they see they have synergy and they work together, then that's a good look for Brian Norman. But right now, I can't really say Derek James is his coach or not. It's just that one photo. And just like many other fighters say, you know, I got to find synergy with the coach. So, you know, I think it'll be a great look for him. At Brian Norman's looking for, you know, that coach that's going to tell you, yo, you need to be on time. You need to be ready to work. You know, you know, with me, it's a lot of drills. A lot of drills and a lot of fundamentals, and blah 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 blah, whatever he tells them after that, and hopefully they'll get it together, and that'll be a solid first step into rebuilding, you know, Brian Norman Jr. And that's where I landed with that.
And you know, embrace yourself, because they're going to be critical of it. It's going to almost be like the same thing when they seen AJ do it, and we could see AJ getting into the fights when he was in his rebuilding mode and he got back out there, where it looked like he was thinking through some of the things, and then like it started clicking. But that might be one of those things to where the more and more he did it, and you can kind of see the more and more he did it, the more and more he got comfortable. Then when he got back with Tunde, was it who? Yeah, when he got back with he got back with the white dude from across the pond. When he got back with him, it looked like he was more natural, and he sped it up. But the fundamentals that was instilled with him with Derek James, that was still there.
Yeah,
so it was something he had in his rucksack that he could pull out and use. What'd you say?
Ben Davison, I believe.
Ben Davison.
Yeah.
And people saying, yeah, I told you, but I'm like, nah, you can't say. But that was more of this to hate. But all I'm putting it out there is that, look, man, coaches specialize in certain things.
Yeah.
And the proof will be in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? So we just gotta wait and see. But I'm just putting out a word of caution, man. Let's not do the gangbanging thing, man, based on the affiliations and all this because as a boxing fans, like, you sound kind of silly, man. But the last one before we get into the meat and potatoes, Tank is the WBA lightweight champion in recess, and a lot of these guys, man, they was like waiting. Oh, he should be stripped. He should be doing this. He should be doing that. Well, he just fought. He had just fought back in April. So it's been 8 months since he fought. So it's like, I didn't really see how or what the justification was going to be as to why they was going to strip him. It seemed like as much as the Schofields was yipping and yapping, they wasn't looking forward to that fight. They was basically wanting the same thing, because they said, oh, we're going to get the title when he retired. They was basically calling for the man to retire. So they really wasn't in no rush to fight him. They was using his name for clout just like everybody else, but they just wanted to be in the seat where they could receive the belt if anything happened. You know, because I don't even know how it's gonna go down if they really want to fight. I'm hearing that they still jaw-jacking with JoJo Diaz. I'm like, move on. Like, that's not the kind of fight when all your peers like Abdullah Mason, he went and had a battle-tested fight over there on Riyadh season with Sam Norps. You know what I'm saying? A rough, rugged custom, man. He got it in. Here you got Andy Cruz, 6-0 with 3 knockouts, getting ready to fight Raymond Muratalla for a strap. And here you are waiting around, sitting back, waiting for somebody to pop a belt off so you can like lay back and just receive one. Like, come on, man, knock it off. But I do applaud the WBA for making that decision. And they're not stupid either, because they already know the percentage-wise. His 3%, that shit hit a little different than everybody else's 3%. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't heard that from me, so they not foolish at all. They know that it's a price tag with it. And I think they did the right thing. When he get over his legal, you know, whatever legal, you know, things he got going on and the coast is clear and he come back, he should be able to come back and fight for a strap. Why not? So that's the update. I know a lot of people are throwing parties like it's 1999. You know what I'm saying? But the hate, like I keep saying, man, the hate on anybody affiliated with Al and the PBC is real. And it's sad, but like we used to say in the Army, it's tight, but it's right, man. Salute to the Tank, man. I hope you get, you know, I hope you get your mind right. I hope, you know, you get your affairs in order and, you know, you just get over these hurdles that you got coming, man. You still got some years. You still got, I would say, a good 5 years. You probably got a good 4 to 5 years left. You know what I'm saying? Like, where you can still be, you know, formidable before you really start tapering off, as long as you stay in shape and you walk around at the weight, because the fighting is going to be there. But I hope you get over, you know, these legal travesties that you've been facing, man. You get through it, you push your way through it, you remain strong, and you just fulfill whatever obligation you need to, you know, overcome these things. You know, it's not going to be easy, because you're missing time, you're missing money, you're missing events, and you know you're gonna be missing your children and all of that kind of stuff, depending on what goes on, man. But positive vibes go out to you. I appreciate the WBA for handling everything the way they handled it, making him the champion recess. And when the coast is clear, come back and get your strap, champ. But that's the housekeeping, man. That's the housekeeping, AC.
Okay, that's what's up. But yeah, I feel the same way about Tank, bro. You know.
Well, it's the meat and potatoes here, man. I think we cooked on it a little bit, but in my opinion, this is a prove-it fight. And I say that because, not by choice, but I think that a lot of people kind of maneuvered, you know, to not fight Muratalla. You know, Keyshawn didn't want to do it. Shakur didn't want to do it. Loma, he didn't want to do it. So, you know, and these are all guys that were signed over there with Top Rank, you know what I'm saying, and it's on the same island as him. So before people start saying, oh, here you go, no, because he fought the Nakatiya. He knocked out Nakatiya, common opponent with Shakur. You know, he the Indo-Gini, he's been on a lot of people's resumes. Who else? He wound up getting Tevin Farmer, and salute to Tevin Farmer for coming back. And, you know, after like a 3-year hiatus, and then kind of like running through the gauntlet, because he had to fight Muratalla, and then he went and fought Zepeda twice. You can kind of say he might have softened them guys up, or at least gave a southpaw, somebody that's a southpaw looking at those matchups, at least a barometer as to how to fight them how to have some success, how to deal with some of the things that they do. And he put up a valiant, Tevin Farmer put up a valiant effort against Muratalla, in my opinion. Muratalla is a Robert Garcia boxer. He do got a little umph in his punches. You know, I don't know if it's one punch knockout power, even though if he catch you right, he can put you down. I'm not sure if it's one punch concussive knockout power, but again, if he time it right and he catch you right, possibly. But he definitely got some power. I would say that it appears as though he might have more power than Andy Cruz if we're going over some of the advantages, disadvantages, and we're gonna do that. Yeah. I think Andy Cruz has better feet. I think Andy Cruz has better defense. I think he definitely has more speed. Boxing IQ will be better. The corner, Robert Garcia is a general. You know, and I'm not taking away from Bozy, but corner wise, you know what I'm saying? That's a, you know, I mean, you might have to toss a corner up in the air, but Robert Garcia, when you look at the likes of Bam, what he was able to do with Mikey Garcia, it's like, man, you know, I don't want to offend either one of the coaches, but if we're looking at you know, comparisons and advantages, like, because I like to get into that, then corner wise is, you know, it's either even or I might have to give Robert the edge, you know, based on the success he's had with everybody he's had. He's had a lot of success with a lot of different people. He has one of the biggest squads. He got one of the biggest stables out there with successful people, you know, and the thing that he was able to do. You gotta think he had Valenzuela when he went up and he relieved Cruz of his strap. You know, so
I would probably give the corner edge to Muratalla team, because at the end of the day, I think Bozy's biggest strength is when he's in the gym with you, working with you. Once he's in the corner, it doesn't seem as though he gives like that kind of good information, or maybe I maybe more so because I'm more used to seeing him in the corner with Boots, and that's just like a father-son relationship. A lot of things that are said don't have to be spoken, type thing.
right.
I say short words, but so you know exactly what I mean. So that's the only reason why. Just on watching them in the ring, you know what I'm saying. And then with Andy Cruz, he didn't give Andy Cruz much direction and stuff like that. And according to him, just like you quoted him before, he said, I ain't had to do nothing. I mean, I just had to, you know, work with him, have him sit down on his punches. I mean, so at the end of the day, based on that too, I would give a 1.5 to what's the name if it was scored a 1 to 3.
Yeah, so then the other thing is Muratalla, he's at a 73% knockout ratio, and he also has, as far as professional experience, you know, this will be his 24th bout. So he's had 23 bouts compared to the 6 bouts that Andy Cruz has. So in that, you know, category, he got the slight like pro experience. He got the edge in pro experience. He definitely has the edge in KO power because, again, Andy Cruz is at a 50% knockout ratio. Even though I think the level of competition with Cruz starting out has been a little bit better.
Yeah.
If I were to look at it, like his first 6 fights, you can't compare his first 6 fights in Muratalla with the first 6 fights of Andy Cruz. His alias is Raymond Danger Muratalla. He's 5'8" with a 72-inch arm reach. They got Andy Cruz as 5'9", and I don't know why they don't have his arm reach on here.
Yeah.
So Andy might be a little taller, but like Andy is a pure boxer, man. This is a very interesting fight, man. I'm excited for this fight. This is a prove-it fight because the way Muratalla got his belt, he got his belt when he faced Antonio Moran, and that was the belt that Loma had. And this is after Devin moved up. That's how the belts became available. But Loma wound up fighting Kambosos. And that's how he wound up getting it. And then Loma decided to like do family time and take time off and do all that stuff. And he was out for so long, but Muratalla actually moved his way up in the ranks, and he was the one next in line. And so when Moran, no, that was Abdulaev. I'm sorry. With Abdulaev, he fought Abdulaev for it. Andy fought Moran. So he didn't have to really fight anybody for it. So for me, this is going to prove like who's who at that division.
Yeah.
Like in that line with that strap, it's going to prove who's who, because this is how it's looking. Even though Tank is in, I don't know what's going to happen, but this is how it's looking right now with Tank being in recess. So with Shakur moving up and him having, Teofimo on the menu, we got to see if he wind up staying there or if he really going to do what he's saying, come back down, which I don't think. But it could very much be JD Herrera right there where Shakur going to be at. And then let's say Schofield and Lucas Body fight for Tank belt. It could be either Body or Schofield right there with that WBA. And it could easily be either Muratalla going to retain his strap over there on the IBF, or Andy Cruz going to come by and wipe it out. So we can have all new young faces right there in a second. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the outcome of these fights.
Yeah. That division, based on who stays and who goes, we could be looking at a division that'll be slowly developing to something that on any given night, some of those guys could easily lose their fights. And, you'll be looking at a bunch of dudes that are trying to make their names and, actually running towards the smoke. Because eventually some of those guys that are down at 130, I don't know if Shaq is planning to come back to 35 or whatever. I don't know. Maybe for him in his future, the bigger fights are at 130. So I don't know what his plans are, but I would have loved to see him at 35. You know what I'm saying? I would think that he comes with the most experience and the highest technical ability. If Tank and Shakur walk out, you know what I'm saying, or do whatever they're doing, then you got a whole new problem that's walking through the door. You know what I'm saying? So even for Dula, you're going to have to box your ass off, young man, against O'Shaquie Foster. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, 35 has a lot of potential. And that's the way I look at that division right now. It has a hell of a lot of potential. So we'll just see how everything just lays out, moving towards, like, I'd say probably by November, we'd probably be looking at a clear understanding and clear path of what's actually going on at 35. And there still may be some smoke in the air, but as all the dust settles and the smoke clears, I think probably by November or late November, we'll have that picture.
Yeah, because we still got Mr. Gary Russell. We got Mr. Gary Russell there at 135. We got JD Herrera. We got Lucas Body, Schofield, whenever they want to stop playing with the shenanigans. Um, yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting to see how they all mix it up, man. But what do you think about this matchup? How do you see this? Like your initial thoughts on this?
My initial thoughts, honestly, I was leaning heavy towards Andy. I'm still leaning heavy towards Andy, but I'm asking myself the question: is Muratalla really looking to go out and make a statement, retain his belt, beat the guy that it would appear Shakur and Keyshawn just wanted to avoid. So with that being said, for me it's like, Muratalla, you beat this dude. That's a huge talking point. That's the guy who Keyshawn left the pros for and still couldn't beat him. So you make a hell of a statement and you put yourself in a certain category that's like, wow, okay, Muratalla just did that. I think for the most part, and this may seem a bold statement to a lot of people, but this is one of the most important fights right now in boxing. And we may look at it and say, wait a minute, it's two Latin fighters fighting for the IBF. How is this shit important? Because when you connect the dots to what they've done, how they got here, I don't remember what the fight was where Muratalla knocked I think it was the common opponent. Then he had called out Shakur when Shakur was still at 35 and stuff like that. And then my timing may be off. A little bit after that, Shakur then, does his little temper tantrum and says he's retiring because he can't get the fights he won. And we was like, I was pointing out, well, Muratalla called you out. Why can't you fight him? So Muratalla, if Shakur comes back down, he beats Andy Cruz. You just put a lot of pressure on that whole Brat Pack. So at the end of the day, man, if Muratalla actually kind of understands that dynamic and understands that this is a fight that I win, I will be able to control, this new crop of fighters that'll pop up if Shakur and Tank don't stay there. You know what I'm saying? I have the most impressive resume. I just beat a gold medal Olympian that beat Keyshawn Davis. I'll have that talking point. So at the end of the day, if he decides to do that and use what he was saying, that he's been saying this for a while, he after his next fight he's going to 140. If he takes that leverage with him to 140, you may be able to put some pressure on Keyshawn to stay at 140 and give you a fight. So
yeah, I don't think he's a little guy. I think he's kind of big too.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, he could go up to 140, with a little bit of leverage. If Andy Cruz should win, Andy Cruz now legitimizes himself as a pro.
Yes, sir.
Within 3 knockouts in 6 fights. So, and you beat a tough opponent like Raymond Muratalla. So it's like, for you, if you decide to stay, I mean, I don't really see him at 140 or anything like that, unless it's some extreme situation. But 35 could be yours. You know what I'm saying? I still don't. I keep saying Tank and Shakur, depending on what they do. I'm still having a hard time seeing Abdullah Mason at 135, maybe in November. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't know. This the year I don't know what's going to happen with Abdullah Mason, and he has to go in that category of a big question mark for me, because you're the biggest one out of the bunch. You know what I'm saying? And you're the youngest, and you look like, you know, a chocolate milk and a nap, and 35 is done. You know, so you know, at the end of the day, man, I think I look at this fight. I was leaning heavy towards Andy Cruz. I still give Andy Cruz the slight edge, but if I was going to classify it, this is a very, very close fight. Like, very, very, very close fight. And I can see either guy winning the fight.
Yeah.
I can honestly see either guy winning the fight. And I still look at it as I look at it as a 50-50 fight, but I'm giving Andy Cruz the slight edge. I'm just giving him the slight edge. There's no particular technical reason why. I just think he may be the one who wants it just a little bit more than Muratalla. Because once you start to talk about going to another division, your heart may not be in the situation that you're already in, because you're already looking at tomorrow. So that's the only reason. It's like, if he was more focused on 35, I probably would honestly lean more towards Muratalla, having the more experience, more power, and just stuff like that.
Yeah, it's two orthodox fighters. Definitely, I'll probably say chin wise, Muratalla probably got the better chin. I would probably say feet wise and boxing IQ, I would give that to Andy. Speed, I would give that to Andy. But this is a 50-50 fight, man. This is it's close. It's like I think I would say the superior boxing skills and frustrating Muratalla will probably lend its favor to Andy. But let me see something here. I think
Let me ask you this question while you're looking for it. Do you think Andy can afford to be in exchanges with Muratalla?
Nah. I think he want to piss Muratalla off. I think he want to use his legs early, be opportunistic. You know what I'm saying? Box. He just got to go in there and just box, make get him behind on points and make him get desperate, and then then he can tee off on him, exchange a little bit after he wore his gas tank down a little bit. But what I'm surprised about is that Muratalla has shown that he can be disciplined. He can fight a full disciplined fight. He can stick to a game plan and do the same thing and have success, to where it might not look like that shit hurt, but he's busting you up. He's causing a lot of facial damage, busting up your eyes. I think Muratalla, as always, he got to do that body work. He gotta slow down them legs. He gotta press Andy, and he gotta fight Andy. I think sometimes he gotta put Andy on the inside lean on him, wear on him. You know what I'm saying? Hit him to the body. You know, tie him up. Like he got to do those things, like to kind of like zap some of his energy out, like, and then make Andy get a little desperate, because when Andy fought Moran pushed him to the limit for a second, but since Andy is in excellent shape, his recovery was great. He came back, because I thought it almost got ugly for a second with Antonio Moran. Yeah. So I think it's a good fight, man. I think it's, and I've never seen Andy in a boring fight.
Yeah, me neither. And what I'm looking to see from Andy is the frustration part, and then he's gonna pick and choose those pockets of where I believe Bozy and them are working with him, where to deliver that power. You know what I'm saying? With only 6 fights and 3 knockouts, level of competition, you're a pure boxer, making a transition. I still think a 50% knockout ratio is pretty good for where you are right now, and the fact that you're making this transition. So it tells me that you have respectable power.
Mm-hmm.
You have that power that could put somebody to sleep if the conditions is right. So I think they're going to try to create those conditions, and then, try to have a spectacular finish. Because a spectacular finish with this level of talent, with the story behind him, with the gymnast behind him, with one of the fighters that's coming out of that gym, it's a win-win for everybody. For the gym, for Andy, for Boots, for everybody. Now you're saying, whoa, this is a whole different dynamic that we're looking at from the Ennis camp, and Jim Ennis. Not Team Ennis, but Jim Ennis. So, yeah, I think a lot of happening. Even if it's an impressive unanimous victory, it still says a lot. So I'm expecting to see some new tricks from Andy. I think he's gonna bring something new, something exciting. He's a dude that's, like an onion. We keep peeling layers, and it's something there. So I think Andy's gonna show us some whole new layers. Maybe Muratalla is gonna show us some whole new layers as well. Looking to be prepared for this fight.
Yeah, I'm thinking, man, maybe the boxer's TKO. I mean, because I think when it come down to Andy, his speed and his accuracy, can get you. It'd be one of them things where you don't see it coming, because he sets you up. Like, he's so quick. His hand speed is so quick. But I'm looking forward to it, man. It just depends on who can stick to their game plan the longest, and not make the mistakes, because I know Robert gonna have Muratalla. Like, this is a big fight. Like, they're competitive, and Muratalla, he's not mentioned like them other guys. He almost kind of got the same story as Tito, where he was in the amateurs with a lot of these guys, faced a lot of these guys. I think he beat Ryan Garcia. He beat a couple people, man. Like, he's been around. So this is a sneaky good fight. Like, I mean, the promotion for it, and people, nobody's getting up yelling and screaming. People want to just keep getting out here calling people ducks and shit, but like, they're not paying attention, and this is a treat for us, man.
For me, it's an early sign of, after all the smoke clears, this is going to be one of the more dangerous guys in that division, or probably the most dangerous guy, because right now, with the landscape of 3 of the 4 champions being a big question mark, whatever new guys come up, the toughest dude, right, you're gonna face is that IBF champion. So if y'all ready for ready for that smoke and ready for that action, hey, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be something exciting and to look for.
Yeah, I ain't think this was gonna be a long one, man. But I wanted to come out and put a stake in the ground for it. It's gonna get interesting. I'm pulling for Andy to do his thing, even though I like Muratalla. So it's not like I don't have a true dog in the race. I just like to see Andy do his thing, you know. So I'm leaning. I'm leaning. Well, I want Andy to win, but like Muratalla is in this fight. Like it's I go back and forth a little bit. Like okay, like you know, this is interesting. We'll see, especially with it being IBF. Muratalla talking about moving up. You know, you still got to do that 10-pound rehydration. Is that going to be a factor? Not sure. I know Andy, he can make it because that's his side. Like Andy's like a lean dude. He's already old, like so he's pretty much going to be the size that he's going to be. So I don't know if that'll be a factor, you know, as far as the weight, but like I'm locked in, man. I'm looking forward to this fight this weekend.
Yeah, I'm in the same place. There are so many factors now that it's fight week that it's just like, all right, before I was just painting the background and certain things, you know, with broad strokes. Now we're actually here and I got to deliver on this painting by the end of this week. So now I got to start to detail it, highlight it, and things like that. And as you really start to dig into those details and highlights, it can easily make you go in favor of Muratalla, because that's where it is for me. But you know, there's just this lingering thing that just keeps trying to pull me back to say Andy just might get this on points. He might sneak away with it on points. He fought at the elite level of point fighting, so he's gonna know how to rack up those points. Muratalla in the amateurs, you know, did his thing, but he never fought at the elite level of the amateurs. That, you know, shit like that really matters when you're talking about a fighter's pedigree, you know. And when you look at that pedigree speaks volumes, and it may cause some bias because not every guy who was a gold medalist panned out when it came down to big fights and, you know, the type of competition that can make them slip up. So, you know, it's all of those kind of things that just make me go back and forth. You know, today I may be, you know, today I'm still leaning towards Andy.
The
Maybe
undercard
Thursday I might be leaning more towards Muratalla. You know.
Yeah, the undercard is decent too. You got I'm looking at it now. You got Khalil Cole and Jesse Hart on there. You got Israel Madrimov and Louis David Salazar. I don't know much. Let me see if I've seen Salazar. Salazar is 20-1 with 7 KOs. He Dominican. It's kind of interesting. I don't know anything about this guy, but you got him on there. You got Harley Medeiros. He a little firecracker, man. Like Harley Medeiros, he's action packed. I've seen him before. His name is notable in my book. I've seen him fight. Then you got Omari Jones, the Olympian. You know, one of Eddie's youngest guy that he's still developing against a guy named Jerome Baxter. This guy's 7-0. He's 7-0 with 3 knockouts as well. So He's still cutting his teeth. Got an undefeated fighter out of Pittsburgh. So undercard got some names on it. It's not the flashiest one, but overall, I think it's decent. You know what I'm saying? I think it's decent. So
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's got a lot of young up and coming talent, which this card is for the pure boxing fan. People that just love the sport, because you're highlighting young talent, and to be on a card with Raymond Muratalla and, you know, who did you say? Khalil Cola's on that card, right?
yeah,
That's an impressive move to get on this card for me. So I like that. So yeah, this is the type of, honestly, for a fan like myself, this is the type of card I actually get excited about, because these youngins, you know, they going in there to win. You know, there's no egos. There's not a lot of dumb shit in the way with them. They just going in there to let leather fly. So I get excited for some of these type of fights.
yeah, they all look like they decent size. There ain't too many little guys on this card. So yeah, man. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a short one tonight. AC, man.
Yeah, it's a good one, bro.
Not too many people chimed in on this one, but we gotta do what we gotta do, man. Like, try to stay off the beaten path sometimes, you know. But who knows, man? It might crank up, something might come out. You know, it's been a couple pieces. I watched a piece from Andy Cruz this past week, you know, showing him in the gym and how he get down, man. He a cool dude, man.
Yeah.
I think he's good for the sport. That's why I want to support him, and I really like both of these guys. Like, I don't have nothing bad to say about Muay Thai. I met a best man win for real, and let us get a good fight, man. So that's really how I'm seeing it. You know, I want Andy to win because I see him being formidable at that division. I could imagine if Tank come back and they got to fight, or Shakur come down there and they got to fight. You know, I kind of like that. I don't think Abdullah gonna be down there.
Yeah.
You know, so. But that's all I had, man. How you want to land, man? You got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Man, I'm just looking forward to this fight. I'm actually locked in on it. And at the end of the day, man, I could see both these guys winning. Overall, like I said, if Muratalla was still speaking more on staying at 35, I'd probably be edging towards Muratalla and saying he's probably going to be the more dangerous guy. Andy can come back. You feel what I'm saying? Because his record and stuff like that, that's, you know, Loma lost his first title fight, and he tried to put him in there on his second professional fight. So at the end of the day, you know, I say it like this. Both of these guys have a bright future depending on who wins. But Andy, I think, would be a great asset to that division. Looking at the landscape of who comes up and who actually stays, and that's the smoke that I'm waiting to see clearing. With that, that's where I'll land that plane.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you pulling up, man.
For
Hope
sure.
you enjoy your evening.
Yeah, definitely. You too, bro.
All right, man. Yeah, man. We got another one in the books, man. I like Andy's energy. I like Muratalla too, man. The fans went on this one. Man. I like for the story. I like Andy, like, being a consummate professional. Him doing the unthinkable, getting outside his comfort zone, going up there to Philly, you know, with that Cuban style after getting the gold, going into the dungeon. You know what I'm saying? Now he's like trying to be punching. You know what I'm saying? So I like it, man. will the weight be an issue with Muratalla wanting to move up? Will the rehydration, come into play? Who knows? It might. That's why I always give the people. I give the champs at the IBF strap. I give them a little more credibility, because it's not easy. It's not easy like dealing with that. If it was, he'll be standing up, running to that IBF line. But they always say no. They got the 10-pound rehydration. You know what I'm saying? So I give them guys a little extra credit. So hopefully Andy show up healthy. Raymond, he show up healthy. Andy Cruz got to be careful, because they don't call him danger for nothing. Got a 73% knockout ratio, and if he catch Andy flush on the chin, the way Moran did it, it could be over. You know what I'm saying? I can see that happening. So Andy got to be on his P's and Q's. He got to box. He got to be opportunistic. He got to be patient. Wait for his opportunities. He can't just, throw his game plan out the way. Because Muratalla know that if he can hit that chin bone right, he could change the whole complexion of that fight. So we're in for a treat. There's a couple people on the undercard that's very interesting to watch. So I'm going to be tuned in. I'm going to be dialed in. But this not going to be the last live of the week. Just had to come out here and put a stake in the ground for Andy, man. I don't see many people talking about this fight. I don't really see much content on it. So I tried to do it and give people an opportunity to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Not too many popped out, but it's all good, man. We still supporting you out there, Andy, and hopefully Bozy can get another champion, under his belt. And we'll see what happens from there. Anyways, this is Fruits and Veggies. Not Dead Reggie. Fact-based content, not opinion-based. I'm gonna come out with something else. I got some other things like in the chamber, I'm gonna roll out that I need to talk about. Maybe go up to the welterweight division and talk about some things there. How about that? But anyways, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. Well, we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.